So I've had an opportunity in the last few weeks, several weeks, to speak to many people about soul motion. Um, Not only because of this upcoming workshop that Vincent and I are offering in Maine, but because I went to dance with Michael Mullen Skelton in Maine a few weeks ago. And also, it's just been up. I was speaking to Zuza the other day, Catriona. There are these calls that those of us that have been trained in soul motion are invited to get together once a month and talk. So it's really been up for me lately, how to speak about soul motion. And I particularly love the kind of the challenge of bringing it to people that are new to soul motion. I like hearing the words that come through me when I'm asked what it is. And often people have some sort of reference point for conscious dance or utilizing movement as kind of a pathway to expand their experience of themselves. Um, but I want to just offer a few things that are meaningful to me about the practice and things that have been really formative in a lot of what I do, whether I'm bringing it through the kind of the title of soul motion or whether I'm doing something like trauma informed group facilitation. It's really been something that has shaped me a lot. So here's what I want to share. Soul motion. Here's some words that we've worked with. Um, these are also words to let go of and release and drop the project around. As Vincent says, if the form of the words make something feel tight, but if it's something constructive, like I want to practice these things until I don't need to anymore because I've accessed a state or I've gotten my own personal view into what this field is like and how it moves and how it behaves and what I'm watching for. But there are so many beautiful how-tos and they're meaningful to me. So one, and I really look at soul motion as like the vehicle that brought this in. And it's the pause. Pause has become so important in trauma-informed fields, in a lot of dance groups, in fact, even in contact improvisation. And it's not that people weren't speaking about the importance of slowing down or even stopping to recalibrate. It's not that people weren't speaking about it before, but soul motion had it as a principle. And in fact, probably the first one that was taught, the first one that we worked with um, when we were in our training, which for me was 15 years ago or something like that, or more. Um, Pausing helps us reset. So if you can imagine dance floors, sometimes the orientation is to stay in motion, right? Because that's another great way to kind of work with what's occurring in a given moment is to allow momentum to have us, to keep something in motion as a way to have continuity happening. However, I think the pause is what takes it out of kind of an ecstatic practice of how can I move into something alternate or alternative, and the pause helps us stay very conscious. I want to be aware of where I'm in space, how I'm meeting the ground, what's going on with my breath, whether I want to continue in what I was just exploring or doing or moving like, or whether I want to take a step in a different direction or reorient my attention in some way to change my experience. So pause. Orbit orientation is an awesome one. I will enter into it a little bit more right now. Of course, I'm speaking at a screen so that I can find you in there. But I'm now aware of my back body more, and I just expanded my awareness to the surrounds, that which surrounds me. My breath is also filling out not only, my front and top lungs, but down deep, out laterally, into my back body. And as a dancer and as a soul motion dancer, I get to have 360-degree awareness. I have the opportunity to be um, in relation to my whole body. And I know that in order to do that with my attention, it actually does require slowing down just a bit. I've now had a lot of practice of speaking and using language, even as I stay aware of my body. But for some, it's like a switch. It's like, oh, if I'm going to pay attention to my body and the sensations in my body and my proprioception that tells me where my body is in space, it's hard to also speak. So 360-degree awareness, orbit orientation also brings us into how much we use spiral. So there is a central channel that runs through our bodies that I can feel as I speak it, right? There's access to the ground below me. There's access to all this space above me. And then there's all these movements that my joints allow, that my fascia allows, right? Of course, my spine allows, that are about spiraling. And even if, my head can't rotate all the way around, you can see me kind of orienting towards the spiral of motion, which has a lot to do with opening our joints and loosening our joints and softening so that we can allow movement to move us, to be moved. The spiral also is found in nature. It's the thing where I literally can look out my window right now and see things that unfurl and grow in a spiral motion. So a lot of these are things that are naturally happening. So soul motion has a way of bringing our attention to what I'd call our naturalness, that which is just of our nature. But there's something that happens when we actually bring our attention to these things, especially when we do it together in a group field. That is pretty sweet. Our naturalness can come forward. So spirals and orbit orientation, and then pausing, and echo inspiration. Echo inspiration is so near and dear to me because it's a large part of how I dance and how I've opened my movement vocabulary. I do get the feedback of like, wow, you have such range in your motion, right? It can be very kind of energetic and etheric. It can be really dense and kind of like ferocious in muscle and bone and using the power of the ground to throw my body into space. All of that I've picked up from others. Yeah, pretty much all my movements, and I'm not alone in this. I know many of us learn to move by watching others. Certainly, as a mother, I can say that this is absolutely true now. To watch a new baby and a developing child find movement. Some of it is organic. Some of it is just what a human body does. But in terms of like once habits pick up and strut, gesturing while talking, like all of that, we're picking up from each other. And so echo inspiration is like the fact of you move and I'm inspired. It might be that I'm actually inspired to somewhat mirror what you're up to, but it's really like I just want to try on what you're doing, and that might be the feeling tone, the bhav, the mood that I feel moving through you as I watch you. Or that might be an exact motion that you're doing. You're really throwing your right hand out and then your left hand out and then your right hand out and then your left hand out. I'm going to echo that in my own way, right? You might be doing big gestures and I just kind of like toss a little bit. Or I might want to echo the fact that you are down close to the ground. Or it might just be an inspiration. You're down to the ground and it inspires me to be up and high just to create that juxtaposition, but I'm inspired by your moment. I'm inspired by your moment. I'm inspired by your movement. And so there's a way that echo inspiration is like it just pulls something back as grown people. Somehow there's some idea in especially the cultural independence that we pride so much here in the U.S. that like somehow you have to be your own, and that if you're doing someone else's movements, you're like a copycat, and that's not a good thing. And I am like so pro copycat if it means opening up what is possible in another's life, what's possible in your own life. Absolutely be inspired by me. I'm inspired by you too. And when we get that going on the dance floor, it has an emotional impact. It has an emotional component that does something energetic and physiological that is like about saying, I'm seen and I'm seeing you. I'm seen and I'm seeing you. I'm seen and I'm seeing you. I'm being inspired by what I'm seeing. Oh, you're actually having an impact based on my movement, or I'm watching the impact I just had through your body. All of that just starts to move together. And the gift is that when we put those things together, we're creating a group field that has a shared reality. I mean, we are in shared reality. But when we take our attention and actually say we are going to do the same thing today together, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like being given the opportunity to say, "Hey, I want to see our nature. I want to see our nature. I want to know our connection, not through some cognitive method, but because I want to feel it as an inarguable experience." Soul motion helps me get there, like quickly and easily. I know we are having a shared experience on a soul motion dance floor. Um, I could give you lots of reasons. I could give you lots of data that tells me that that's occurring. Um, so the one last thing I'll mention, and there's so much to this. There's so much to soul motion. It's also a very simple practice, but as one who loves it dearly and has spent a lot of time with it, I could get quite nuanced about it. But the one last thing I want to mention is point of view. I've been talking about what we are doing with our attention. And point of view has a lot to do with that, but I want to speak to actually like what we're doing with our view, with our eyes. And it's not only point of view, like what I'm paying attention to with my eyes, but it's also the different ways that I feel as a body, and the different ways I feel connected to you as a body, and a body in space, different ways I feel connected to the space that is between us and is connecting us. When I am here with my eyes, kind of with myself, when I'm just kind of like near in this space that's, let's say, 4 feet around me. What happens when I use my eyes differently, when I soften the periphery and kind of let myself open, maybe even to the horizon, right? There's a whole different experience that I get to feel that then generates a different relationship that I'm in with you, depending on how I'm using my eyes. Now, some people don't have vision, and they absolutely can still play with point of view. What am I doing with my attention internally? But point of view it's part of the meditative practice. It's part of what brings this practice into a wholehearted, conscious dance experience. I love this. I love this work so much. I just wanted to take an opportunity to record this, to share it with you if you were interested. And I'm happy to jam about this, to talk about this until the cows come home. So this is even just, it's 14 minutes worth, but it's just a little dose of a practice that continues to be my teacher, truly, continues to be a healer for me. Quite literally, in all the somatic practice that has just gotten me into my form, helped me rest into my weight. I think my comfort with my embodiment was served more through soul motion practice than almost any practice I've done, and I've done a lot of somatic practice. So there's that. Be well, my friends. Happy to talk to you about soul motion and all things body and consciousness. Be well.